You know, some people still ask us why it's called Cold Garden. Hello! Welcome back to another video with Cold Garden Distillery. As you can see, it is really cold here and snowing, and I am up to my knees in snow. It's one of our first big storms of the year, and that's really exciting, but it also means we can't really do any outdoor work today. Not until it stops snowing, at least, and we can get some plowing done. So, today what we are doing is running second cuts. We're distilling today, because that's a warm thing that you can do inside and not stand in the snow like an idiot. But thank you for joining us. I hope you guys have a great time watching this. I'm gonna go inside and actually distill, hit like and subscribe, and we will see you in there.
Some product from our first run of stone ground, and I'm trying to determine what the proof of it is, what percentage alcohol it is. Yeah, so we're at about 20% alcohol.
Cool fact, because all or the vast majority of the alcohol and liquor that we work with is flammable, we don't want to use an electric pump for any of the pumping, because a single spark could set the fumes on fire, could set the whole thing on fire, and then we'd all go up, and that would be great. So instead, this does have a wire on it, but it's not plugged into anything. The way this works is with air pressure. It's pneumatic. So you got that green line that comes off, and that plugs into a little regulator over here, and the regulator is then plugged into a giant, loud air compressor, and so we can control the pressure up here with this, and that's how our pump works. Oh jeez.
Look, just only a little bit of snow. Oh, that's because we have this
Yeah, it's because we're
overhang.
underneath an overhang. Alright, Dad, go for it. I'm gonna follow. No, stop taking such big steps.
Oh, you want littler steps so you can walk in my footprint?
Yeah, well, it's not helping anyway.
Well, I'm glad I got some of the firewood under cover.
This is our boiler house for anybody who doesn't know. Open the vent.
Gotta have fresh air for the gas to burn. We plug it up so that it stays warm in here. We have a little bit of electric baseboard heat to keep the temperature in here above freezing, because if this froze up, we would be very unhappy. So this is the water feed. This is how water comes in to replenish the water in the boiler when it evaporates and turns into steam. Turn on the switch. That bzzz, that's the pilot ignition. And now we hear a whoof when it lights. That's all it takes.
There we go.
This is 750,000 BTU. That's 750,000 British thermal units. It runs off natural gas. We're really fortunate because the natural gas line goes by here.
What's BTUs to normal people besides British thermal units?
It's a measurement of the heat output of a device like a boiler.
What's a normal household boiler do?
Under 500,000, definitely. More like 250. I think we're going to turn this into a barrel storage. That bay.
Oh, more barrel storage?
Barrel storage.
That'd be great.
Next year, put in concrete floor and a roll-up door.
Nice.
And then we'll store all the bourbon out here and all the brandy in there. And all those barrel racks that we built with multi-levels, one for the bourbon and one for the, we'll have to modify so we can put the put more brandy barrels in there, because the brandy barrels are a little bit bigger. Maybe I should have worn taller boots.
All right, so, oh God, I tripped.
What's,
Running seconds from our Stone Ground whiskey. Running seconds is, take it away.
So after you've pulled off the hearts, you're running a bunch of seconds that have a little bit of off flavor in them. They start out about 100 proof and go all the way down to about 20 proof. We collect that, join that all together, and it comes out at about 50, 60 proof. There's a lot of good alcohol in there, but it has some cogeners and fusel oils and things that don't have good flavor. So we process it again. Some of that we can use for barreling. Some of it we can process further into like a neutral grain spirit if we wanted to make a gin or a vodka.
Or hand sanitizer.
Or hand sanitizer, correct. So we've got our still filled up to about 160 gallons, right about at the lip of the at this opening here. This part is a steam jacket. We looked at the steam boiler earlier. The steam comes up through these pipes, comes underground up into here. Come over here, Bill. So this is our steam control area. This is the main steam valve. This gauge tells us the pressure in the system. This gauge tells us the pressure in the steam jacket. This is an electronic control valve, a proportional electronic control valve. And this is a pressure sensor. So we get a signal from there that comes through the wires over to the controller. This is a little tiny computer controller. And it's telling us that right now we have 2.9 psi in the steam jacket. We're set for 2 psi. So the valve is working back and forth. It's called hysteresis. The valve closes down a little bit and we'll watch the pressure drop. It'll get down a little below 2, then it'll open again. And as it goes back and forth, this little tiny computer is really smart and it figures out where it should be in order to hold the pressure at what we have set. There's another little computer here which controls the temperature in the condenser where the alcohol vapors turn back into liquid. That's over here. So this column has cold water running through it. There's kind of a corkscrew down through the middle where the alcohol vapors come in and condense. There's another proportional valve here, electronic control valve, and this does the same thing as the steam one, except this is for cooling and that one is for heating. So back to the little control center. So I have set the temperature in the condenser. What we want it to be is at about 79.6 degrees, works pretty well, but we found. Right now it's 72.2, so that valve won't open until this gets up to over 79. It'll get up to like 80 and then the valve will start to open and then it will find the right degree of openness to keep the temperature right around 79.6. This won't work if the water isn't turned on, the cooling water isn't turned on. So once you get the heat started, you got to make sure you have the cooling ready. And there's another very important thing, and that is, where is the product going to go when it comes out? When I first started doing this, I'd get all involved in getting everything started, and then product would start running out and there would be no bucket under here to catch it, so it would go on the floor. You'd smell it right away, but so that's the other thing that's really important to figure out, is what you're doing with the product. And there are two parts of that. One is the heads, which are parts you don't want to keep, but you don't want to run on the floor. So you need a jar like that to catch the heads. And then this drum is where we'll put the hearts. The hearts will run into this drum. Because we're processing seconds, we're starting with a product that is about 50 proof. 25% alcohol. So we're going to get a lot more alcohol out of this than we would when we run our first batch, which would be at like 8.5%, 9% if we were really lucky. So this has got like at least four times as much alcohol in that pot. The heads are starting to run off this batch, and you got a close-up of it just dripping very slowly. Yeah. We want to run them very slowly like that so that we get just the acetone and just the methanol before the ethanol starts to run. If you heat it up too quickly, you'll get a mix of acetone, methanol, and ethanol, so you'll be losing some of your ethanol.
I just dropped my phone in the snow. It's somewhere in this hole. Let's go looking. Oh God. Found it. Okay, so what we've got there are the hearts. They're now running into this big barrel. We're done with the heads, so it's just hearts all the way now until we hit the tail. Just so you know, we started doing the seconds run at, I think we were pumping in around 8 a.m. this morning. It's 5 o'clock now. There's still so much to distill. So at this point, we spent the entire next day just digging everything out and plowing everything, and so I totally forgot to actually record any kind of outro. But I'm gonna leave you with this plowing footage because it's really satisfying. Thank you for joining us. Click like and subscribe. I'll pick up with some other distilling videos in the future every other Tuesday. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.